This episode is part of Glendale Library Arts and Cultures and the Southern California Library Cooperative's Be the Change series, which focuses on inclusion, diversity, equity, anti-racism.
Be the Change events will build collective understanding of systemic racism, elevate the voices and stories of Black, Indigenous, and people of color, and inspire our community to be the change.
Hi everyone, it's Melissa.
And Desiree.
Welcome to another episode of G.E.N Talks, where the goal is to empower the youth of Glendale and connect youth to community resources, individuals, and organizations through interviews and discussions.
Today's special guest is Michelle. She is the small business owner of Casita Michi, a Latinx handmade candle shop.
But before we get started, don't forget to follow us on our socials, both on Facebook and Instagram at MyGlendaleLAC. And follow us on Spotify and Apple, or anywhere where you get your podcast from. Also, make sure to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, Glendale Library Arts and Culture, where we post the full episodes every Friday at 4:30 p.m. Thank you, Michelle, for taking the time out of your day to talk with us. We have a lot to discuss.
Thank you for having me, ladies.
And to start out the interview, if you could tell us a bit about how Casita Michi came to be.
Absolutely, yes. So I started Casita Michi amidst the pandemic. And reason being is I've had a small business for about 15 plus years prior to Casita Michi. I've been an event planner and event designer, doing all type of events, community events, nonprofit, corporate, weddings, social. Obviously, when COVID happened, my industry got hit really hard. And one of the things you could not do was plan events. And so it was a really tough time for me. You know, I had a lot of events already planned and slated for the year, and the pandemic hit. And as a creative, which I consider myself, you know, my options were, okay, I can sit at home and collect unemployment, or I can figure out how to pivot at this point. And so about a month of like sitting at home, you know, my creative juices, I just needed an outlet, you know, and I started exploring things that I love, that I enjoy. I'm like, I'm so talented. I know I can do something else. Like I didn't want to let this thing stop me from developing or doing something else. And I needed another source of income. That was the reality, you know, as many. So I love candles. I have loved, you know, in Latinx culture in our homes growing up, there's just always been candles. I can't pinpoint why that is or what it is, but lighting a candle, having a candle, there's these always just light a candle for good juju, you know, right. Light a candle for this person, light a candle for that person. It's just always kind of, and I had candles, I hoarded candles. Like I was that person, I'd go to the store and didn't need candles, but you saw a candle. So in a conversation with my cousin sitting down, and she could tell I was struggling with my creative, you know, needing to be creative in something. She says, why don't you become a soap maker? And I'm like, I just don't love soap enough to like want to be a soap maker. And that's where we just kind of shooting off ideas at each other, and candle making. And then I remember the first thing I said, which I regret now, was how hard can that be? You know? And as anything, when you learn or enter a new job field or career, you think, oh, how hard can that be? And my journey began in end of April of last year, researching, looking up a lot of things. YouTube was my best friend, but I would say I'm self-taught. Aside from the YouTube, I joined groups. I started doing my own research. I used my stimulus money to invest back in myself and to Casita Michi. So I decided for me, this was very important. This is what I was going to do. I knew from the very beginning, I wanted to somehow draw on my culture. I just feel in a lot of products, you know, people of color are underrepresented in mainstream markets. And I've been very intentional over the last few years of the products that I buy, from my face, my skincare, my hair care, they're all people of color or women of color. I've just been very intentional in how I shop, you know, shopping small. So I knew that when I was creating something, I was thinking of those people. I was thinking of who I really wanted to buy into my brand, into my story. And I did my research and I did market research, and I didn't really see a lot of my culture and ethnicity represented in candles, you know? And so and again, it's a very saturated market. But I think what makes candles so unique is the colors, the style, the sayings, the scents. There's something for everybody, and that's essentially how I got started, and how I started tinkering of like, I knew from the beginning of starting, I just knew that I wanted off the bat something that represented my heritage.
What is the mission behind Casita Michi?
Really, my tagline, I feel, is my mission is creating a product with love from my home to your home. My mission is that I want my product to either, when it gets to your location, empowering you, enlighten you, make you smile, make you laugh. It's all those things. And obviously I was very intentional of who I wanted to buy my product, but my product could be shared and enjoyed by anybody, essentially. That's why there's the AKA, you know, so it's a word in Spanish, and then there's the AKA, because I did want it to be enjoyed, and I did want it to be punny and empowering and a little bit of everything. And so I think my mission statement is just heart and home, embracing Latinx culture.
I love that. Kind of touching back upon like your event planning, and how did you take, I guess, your skills from, you know, you being an event planner to Casita Michi?
Well, I'm detailed. So I've always been a detailed orientated person, and you need that. Candle making is a science. There's a lot that goes into it that I didn't 100% understand. I had made favors and small candles on a very basic level before, but this was now formulating my scents and that whole process. They're formulas, you know, from the numbers to the ratios, wick testing. I spent months testing before I launched publicly, because I wanted to put out a product that was not only environmentally friendly, but eco-conscious, sustainable. I also thought about all those things from the materials I was using in my candles. So I think already coming from a small business background, I knew the nuts and bolts of running a small business. I knew already the back end, the work you have to put in when it comes to managing your books and your products and the output and input and profit and loss. So that was extremely helpful to understand. I'm not going to spend more than I can afford right now to start this business, because I think that's the mistake a lot of entrepreneurs make in the beginning. They don't really do their cost analysis up front, so they're spending more than they can afford. And I didn't want to take out a loan or go into debt starting this business. I wanted to work with what I have. And so just to really show that anybody can start a small business if they really put their mind to it. But I'll say again, being detailed. I didn't realize that I really needed this. It's very precise what I do when I'm blending, when I'm pouring. It's like everybody knows in my house, when I go in my garage, be quiet. I don't need to hear anything. Like, it's like, for me, I am in a zone and I need to be, and that's how I work when I'm in event planning. You know, I was in event planning mode today. I have an event tomorrow, my first post-COVID. I'm really excited. For me, you guys, I call myself a multi-passion creative entrepreneur, because now I'm running 2 small businesses and I'm still very passionate about both. And so this is my first event post-COVID, and it feels nice to be back into the swing of things. But now I'm running 2 businesses, and they're creative in their own way. One is a service-based, one is a product-based. So they are very different. But I am thankful to have had already that experience that has helped me. But I'm still learning. It's still a learning curve, and I'm learning a lot as I go.
And like touching upon that, like, you know, you having 2 small businesses, how do you balance both of them?
Yeah, it's very, right now, it's very new, because obviously now the other one is picking back up again. Hopefully people are starting to look into next year and planning their social events and corporate events. And I am a mom and I am a wife as well. And so right now, I will be honest, I'm definitely putting a lot more into Casita Michi, because I see what it could be. I never imagined that in less than a year, the way that company has been received has been very humbling, very rewarding. And now I'm just thinking 2-3 years beyond, when I didn't think of that when I started it. You know, I started it more like, okay, I need a side hustle.
Right.
It's not a side hustle anymore, you know? So it's a passion business that I've made sure I've got my license and my permits and insure and everything that I need to run as a business, and so I'm learning. Again, I don't know it all. So I'm still learning how to balance the two. I think right now is only taking what I can under MB Creative Co., which is my event planning business, taking what I can. Those clients have been supportive. They know about my candle business, like my nonprofit client that has been with me, so it supports me in that endeavor. And the great thing is there's kind of a happy marriage because I do community events in San Francisco for this nonprofit for the last 6 years. And they have now asked if for their event, I could make as a favor candles. So it's beautiful, the marriage that, that you could, I see being able to kind of, in certain occasions, I've planned weddings before and one of my goals is to introduce myself in a few months to some of the wineries I worked at and also offer them branded candles for their winery. So I see being able to sometimes marry the two and merge the two, which is kind of beautiful.
So going back to Casita Michi, what's your favorite scent from your collection?
Okay, so easy. And it's crazy because so I have 11 candles currently in my collection, 10 that are out there, right? And then I've always done kind of pop-up and surprise scents. Till this day, there has been one scent that I'm like, yep, that's my baby, that's my girl. Sorry, the rest of you are bomb. But this one is it's my take on a pineapple mint mojito, basically. I've lived in Hawaii before. I'm a very, I like Caribbean Hawaiian. It's just, that's that's my happy place. So anything coconut, pineapple, palm trees. So the scent now is actually called Oasis, right? Because I just feel like an oasis can be anything you make it, but you smell this candle and it transports you to wherever you want to be right now that ain't probably, your workplace or your home. That's what that scent. So Oasis would be my favorite scent in my collection.
And I will say I love, the names of your candles. Being Latina, reading all of them, I was like, yes, I love that. So if you could talk a bit more about the inspiration behind the names of the candles.
Yeah, so that right there, your smile, your reaction, that's exactly what I wanted. I wanted people to be able to see the candle and see themselves in a particular candle. And obviously my collection has grown since starting. When I did market research, I came up with a lot of names, obviously, but I wanted to really come up again with a bit empowering, a bit motivating, nostalgic, and just kind of words and terms that we use in, a Latino household growing up and on a daily or amongst friends, and so chismosa, which is the gossiper. And what's crazy about chismosa? I have friends that are Asian, Black. You don't even need to be Latino and you know what a chismosa is. It's this joke, you're being a chismosa right now, So it was kind of that introducing things that you just it would click off the bat, you'd see it. And I like that because when I see people that are non-Latino buying that specific candle, I get it, they get it. And that's exactly what I was thinking, but to see that. So again, that's what it was, Jefita is kind of that honor that a lot of us, would call our mothers or, mom's is boss in the house in our culture, that dad may think he's running the pants, but mom is she on another level, so that's Jefita. And then even though I'm South American and Chingona is more, I grew up with a lot of Mexican and Central American friends. I'm Peruvian and Argentinian myself. And so I've embraced a lot of words and terms growing up in San Francisco, in the Bay Area, in California. And Chingona is you are just a badass woman. When I think of that word, I knew off the top of my head, that was my baby. She was going to empower people. She was going to make people feel seen. And that has been a very popular candle from day one. She's held me up, And Poderosa came about a few months later because it's the difference. There's badass and then there's a powerful, strong woman, And so you could say they're kind of the same, but they're not, because it's sometimes it's your strength and how your strength carries you through any obstacle in life and things like that. And the badass is just gonna go out and do whatever she wants to do, you know? So it's too different to me. It's they're different. So that's how a lot of them have came about. El Jefe, I wanted to obviously, Papi Chulo, men love candles, men buy candles too. I wanted them to be seen. And that one has been a funny one. I will say the Papi Chulo one is probably that and Nalgona are the funniest ones in my collection. And trust me, I feel like I would have so many other terms out there, but I had to condense and try to figure out universal words that if you're in New York, if you're in Cali, kind of like you'd see it and whether you're Mexican, Central American, South American, you have heard those words in your household before.
Recently, you have been fulfilling your first retail order for Casita Michi. What's the process been like and what have you learned from it?
It's been very stressful. This is where I'm a small business owner and I'm a small business owner of color, and we don't have the capital or the means to loan sometimes as other people do. That's the reality. I tell a lot of small businesses this. I'm not sugarcoating it. And when I was approached by this big retailer, I thought it was spam at first. I'm gonna be honest. So I thought it was spam at first. Turned out it was a real person, a real buyer for a very big retail company. And I hadn't even thought of that, ladies, yet. I wasn't there yet. I've plans, goals, but I had not even thought. I was more, I want to get into little mom and pop shops, which I had secured my first little mom and pop shop in Downey, California. And I was excited just for that. And then getting this, it was really eye-opening, scary, exciting all at the same time. I had my first, face-to-face Zoom with their team. That continued. And then I bossed up. I realized I can do this. I may not be ready. I may not be prepared, but I can do this. I just need to negotiate my terms. And I think a lot of us don't do that enough. Small business owners in general, we think that when opportunities come like this, that we are not allowed, just like when a job comes, to negotiate our terms, to negotiate what feels right for us. So I learned that it's okay to do that. It's okay to push back and say, hey, I'm a small business. I don't have this much capital yet. I cannot fulfill your initial request, but this is what I can do, And fortunately, they were okay with that. They understood. We met a happy medium of what I was able to do production-wise, inventory-wise. We're dealing with COVID shortages in our industry. So I had to be realistic, like, what can I do? I'm a one-woman show still, okay? I don't have, that's my goal in a few months, but I'm a one-woman show with a studio that I've made in my garage, And this is now on another level that I wasn't ready for, but I'm ready. I'm learning to be ready for. And so I'm learning every day. Literally today, right before talking with you guys, I had to send professional product photos to be featured on their website. That's not something I had done before. I'd taken iPhone photos before and put my photos on Etsy and was like, okay, call it a day, we're good. Not that I know you shouldn't do this. I just wasn't there yet with my brand to say, now I'm going to invest in professional photos because I don't have a e-commerce site yet. I've been selling on Etsy since I launched and it's been really good to me. But now I've hit over 10,000 in sales. Now, again, I'm grateful. I didn't know my business would get to this point in under a year. Even so, said retailer didn't know I was not even a year old. They were surprised, And so it's beautiful that they found me. It's beautiful that these retailers now are dedicating more shelf space. I know what they're doing. They are being intentional. Target and a lot of these companies, it's not Target, by the way, I can't say it yet, but it's not Target, but Target and a lot of these retailers have to dedicate between 3 and 5% of shelf space now. When I say people of color, Asian, Black, Hispanics, all of us that have been underrepresented, that's the reality in a lot of these markets. And there's a lot of great brands out there, a lot of, and so I appreciate that now. I appreciate being seen by these retailers. But for me, I look at this is not a win for me. This is a win for my Latinx community. Me getting into this retailer is going to show that needs to be the new norm. There needs to be more Latino brands in Ulta, Sephora, all these different places, because when I'm hearing Oh, I'm the first. Congratulations. Beautiful. Why are we in the year 2021 and it's the first
Right.
in
Yeah.
a store like Ulta? You know, the first Latinx hair care brand in Ulta.
Yeah.
You know? So you're learning those things along the way. Again, you're knowing why you're doing it, why you're making the sacrifices. I am sacrificing a lot right now to fulfill this order. I've had to close my shop for regular orders to be able to fulfill this order, but I see the bigger picture. I am grateful. I'm not taking it for granted. I'm so grateful. I'd rather be awake every day working on this because I know I see the bigger picture of what this could mean for my community, being in that store. And I'm really excited, but it's been a learning curve every day. You know, I'm learning now on the product side, because service-based, I've been featured in magazines. I've been fortunate to be in that arena. I knew how to run my business. This is still new. So now, and I don't want to be a fake it till you make it. That's not me. You know, I know that gets other people by, but I really learn as I go and implement everything that I learn into my business.
I also want to like ask, like, you know, how did you know that you wanted to be your own boss? Like, how was that something you learned along the way by having other jobs, or?
My mom, you know, rest in peace, she's a smart woman. My mom always says she knew that by the age of 12, I was going to be my own boss, because I was just always trying to sell something or start a business. But it wasn't like, oh, I want a lemonade stand. No, I was like thinking beyond the lemonade stand.
Yes.
So yeah, I started my first business at the tender age of 23. I had a corporate job, a full-time job in the pharmaceutical world. And I started my first business as a hobby. And 3 years later, I took a big leap. A lot of people were scared for me. They didn't know if I was doing the right thing. My brother didn't know if I was doing the right thing. A lot of people were just like, you're going to leave a very cushiony corporate job with stocks and benefits and everything. I believed so much in my first business. I leased a little studio in downtown San Francisco. I knew that's what I was destined to do. I can't pinpoint the moment. I just felt that I was too creative to be in an office every day reporting to somebody. It's the way my brain thinks. It's how I feel about things. I'm very passionate and everything that I put my mind to. I left and I never looked back. And along the way, you know, I've gone back to corporate America and have contract jobs, but I've never gone back. And, you know, I've had fun part-time jobs here and there, but I've always had my small businesses now for 15 years. And I just, there's some people, I have a lot of friends, there's some people that love working for somebody, and then there's some people that can take charge and love working for themselves. I go back to, for me, I feel I'm too creative to be confined to a box. And it's nothing for me about the power trip and being my own boss. Those are blessings, but people don't realize you work really hard. You work more than 40 hours a week sometimes. So, you know, it's not always glitz and glams, but it is very rewarding when you're able to, in my first business, provide a service that some of the events that I've planned, people will talk about for the rest of their lives. Create a product that is sitting in somebody's home in Alaska or Hawaii or all the places I've been shipped right now. There's something super rewarding when you walk into a home. Still sometimes, like, I walked into my brother's home and my candle's in his bathroom, you know, and it's like, I just love seeing that, because you can go to TJ Maxx, Nordstrom and buy a candle and put it in your bathroom, but it's my candle. And it's beautiful, it's rewarding.
What do you hope that your customers say or feel when they receive your products or services?
So I think when they receive a Casita Michi candle, when you order a candle and it comes to you, everything from the box is branded with Casita Michi, and you open it and I include a care card and a little thank you message. And again, even my little sticker says gracias, which is thank you in Spanish. It all ties into what I want you to feel. And that's seen and represented, or warm and home and homey feeling. I've heard all type of things, what people feel. I've heard that scents have made people nostalgic. That's what's beautiful about our senses. that scents have made people remind them of their grandparents or the bakery they grew up to in Chicago next door. All these things that I've heard people relate my candle to is what I wanted, what I had envisioned, but you don't know it until you see it and you start seeing people share how it makes them feel. And senses are a beautiful thing, all your senses. So the scents, one person can smell one thing when they smell my candle, and the same person can smell that candle, and it could be a different experience for that person.
And what is a tip that you would give anyone that has a small business or is starting a small business?
Take your time. It's okay to start something and take your time. Do not rush the process. If you are here for the long haul, don't rush the process. Take your time, do your research. I get people slide in my DMs every day, and I try to respond, and it's new candle makers asking for tips and advice. I will probably get to a point where I can no longer do that. It happened in my planning business where people would reach out. I'm a giver. That's how I am by nature. So I don't mind giving tips and stuff, but I've never been that person because I do my research. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. My advice is just take your time and do your own research. The internet is a magical place, you know, and don't be afraid to find mentors. I am in my 40s, ladies, and I still have mentors and people. I mentor people, and I have people that I can still reach out to that I respect and admire and seek advice for. That is a mentor is in any facet of your life. Education, work, starting a small business is a beautiful thing to have, because somebody with a different perspective. And sometimes you will get candid feedback that you didn't know you needed, but you want. So again, take your time, you know, research, and only start your business with the means that you can afford.
You know, listening to you talk, it's very inspiring to me to see like a Latina business owner. And I want to ask you, like, what does it mean for you to be a Latina, and especially a Latina business owner?
It means that all the sacrifices that my parents, I'm a daughter of an immigrant, both my parents migrated, you know, from South America, and we know why. My mom was the oldest of 11, the only one that ever migrated. It's sometimes in our culture, it's like you're forced to, because you're that person that's gonna make the better life, you know, whether that's for your family back home or your future children. And so I always tell my baby sister this too, because she's the first in our family to go to grad school and just get, you know, her master's in social work recently. So shout out to her, because I'm very proud of her. And she doesn't realize she's now the 3% of Latinas that own a master's, you know? And those are the sacrifices. For me to be a Latina small business owner is, it's a payoff, you know, for the sacrifices that my mother made. She worked really hard. She learned the language, became a US citizen within a year of coming here, you know, to just give myself and my siblings, you know, better life opportunities. That's the beautiful thing about America. There are opportunities if you look for them, if you chase them. It doesn't matter what ethnicity you are, they are there. It's how much you want them. And I want to show other, especially Latinas, I want them to know that they literally have, sky's the limit. And I know you can say that and it's like so generic, but it really is. So when I go to a lot of pop-up markets and I see other young Latinas that were me at 23 with their new business, I'm all for it. I'm here for it. I want to buy, I want to support, I want to share, because that's beautiful. It's beautiful. It just shows that they can, you know, I have a 24-year-old myself, and she has a full-time job, and she's still in school to become an esthetician and her side hustle. But she sees that from me. I have a 10-year-old who now wants to start his business. I don't know why, but then I was reminded by my sister-in-law, because he sees me. So I want my children to know this is all feasible for them as well.
So before we end, we have some rapid fire questions. The first question is, what is your favorite color? Gray.
Okay.
I am and I'm not a dark, you know how they say gray gets a bad rep. It's like dark and ominous. I think it's modern, sleek, and warm, you know? So all types of gray.
What is something that you have been proud to say that you have accomplished?
I thought when I had my other small business, having art directed a music video for the band Train was my claim to fame at the time. Yes. They did a wedding scene in their video called Save Me San Francisco, and I produced the whole thing. So I was able to they needed a wedding planner to create a wedding scene. Hey, that's what I do. I thought at that time, that's still pretty much my little claim to fame of my business.
Mm-hmm.
I think that when I see my candle in a month, which is launching in Latinx Heritage Month in this big retailer, I think that will be super rewarding because I will be seen.
Right.
We will be seen.
Yes.
If you could have 3 people dead or alive for dinner, who would it be?
My mother, my brother. Honestly, I've never been one, I'll be honest with you guys, like I've never been one to really look up at like actors or political figures or singers. I think a lot of them are inspiring and beautiful and they're badass women. Everything I have learned and known has come through my family. So I'm gonna leave it at 2 because my mother is why I am the badass woman I am today. And my brother, just the humor, the sarcasm that comes from I'm the baby of the family. So imagine having 2 brothers. I still got one that's a pain in my you-know-what. So the other one, he was even extra. Your family shapes you, inspires you, and motivates you. And that's very true to who I am.
What does success mean for you right now?
That's a good question because I think success for society means followers nowadays, money in your bank account, a lot of it. Success for me means I'm able to have a business that generates a good amount of income to help my family every month. Success means that I am reaching my consumers on a daily basis, whether that's through social media or online. I don't need the clout. What I do need is reality. And I think we've taken a step back from that sometimes because we're chasing the followers and image. And I don't want our young generation. I'm raising young kids. I don't want them to think perception over reality. So success is what you define. You define success just like you define your happiness. And success to me is where I'm currently at right now. I'm so grateful for all the blessings that have come my way. I consider that a success. I'm not saying there's not more that I want to chase and there's more that I want. There's always more that I want for Casita Michi. But I would say in the grand scheme of things, for having publicly launched a business in November, and we are now in August, not even a year old, I've reached success and I'm grateful for that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Michelle. We learned a lot about you. Thank you for taking your time out of your day to sit down and talk with us. Can you let everyone at home know about any upcoming projects and where they can connect with you?
I hope to open my shop back in September, but also in September, I will be launching the 4 candles out of 4 from my collection. Will be in a major retailer available online. So you don't even need to leave your house. And follow me on Instagram for that. So I'm still active on Instagram. I do my reels. I post my behind the scenes of fulfilling this order. So at Casita Michi. And I'm very interactive with my followers, with people. If I tell people, if you do, I will do my best to reply, but I reply to everybody. And even if it's just tips or, asking questions, if people want to know about the candles and the scents. But yeah, so that's how they can follow me right there. I'm also on Facebook. But follow along in my journey right now. September is going to be an exciting month for me. I will have a lot to share, and I'm very excited about that.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, once again. I really enjoyed this. This was so inspiring. Thank you so much.
And thank you both for what you do. This is really great. You guys should be so proud of yourselves. I think that it's smart, and I think it's really helpful because, like I said, you both are our next generation. You're our future, and sharing all of this is insightful. So thank you for having me. I'm humbled and I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I hope you have a good day.
Bye. Have a great weekend.
Bye. Thank you, you too.
Bye.
Bye.